Hello everybody, my name is Flake or Vinyl in VRChat, and I'm going to show you how to create a 2D model as as shown by VRPill on his Twitter. He made a screen or a little GIF of mine, which shows me how I turn. And the thing about this one is that I'm actually rendered in 3D. It looks like 3D in VR, but it's just a 2D model. That's because I've squished together my model by manipulating the Y or X axis, excuse me, the Z or X axis, and thus created this squished model. There are two different versions of this. There is this version where you can see yourself in the mirror as well, but others just not are never gonna see your side. And this is done by just manipulating the z-axis. If you manipulate the x-axis, I don't have quite an example over there, but it looks more like Paper Mario, like over here, which shows you from the sides. I've made another character model, I can show it later on, that displays more better how I mean it. For now, we're just gonna get into the editor and take our model. Mine one is Ashley from WarioWare, but this one has been ripped from Super Smash Bros. Brawl, as much as I assume. Sources are in the description below if you're watching this on YouTube. Right, so let's get started. To create your 2D model, you first have to find out what axis you want to be on. If you want to just look flat from the sides and create this Paper Mario effect, you have to manipulate the x-axis. If you're setting this, for example, to 0.03, you can see that on the ground I've been made, it looks like I'm flat, but actually what happens, it just takes my model and if I may move this one for a second, and flattens myself out like this. Some errors may occur that the lighting is not completely correct. That is because Unity still thinks that this thing is 3D, but actually it's just a 2D model, just really, really small. If we undo that for a second, there is also the possibility to create yourself in the default one, like I began with. That is a 4, not a 1. You put yourself on this axis, and you've got yourself a flat model. But from the sides, it looks like you would actually be flat. Now you may be wondering, why do I set myself onto 0.03 or what I even more recommend 0.03? That's because if I set myself completely to 0, you may realize that on display 1 I may have some clipping. This has also been the case on the editor. If you pan around and you see that she doesn't look that good, doesn't she? Now to fix this, I set myself to 0.03. See, Ashley gets some depth, and if you look through the camera, she actually has some legs. I've already set up the VRC avatar descriptor and pipeline manager to work in that fashion that I can just upload it. But I'm not quite happy with it because maybe you know Ashley, but she's actually a toon character as shown here. As you can see, she has a toon shading and, well, we're going to replicate that. To do that, we just take all of her materials and set the shader to the toon lit. If you want outline or not is your opinion. Now it comes down to personal preference, because the more outline you get, the blacker it gets. Problem also with flat avatars is that some outlines may or may not get a little thicker due to the fact that we just squish the model together. But if you look frontally on it, it kind of looks okay. We can set this down to 0.01 if we want even a little more. It won't do much, but to fix that, we can even set her to 0.06, depending on how we want it. Of course, that will give away the effect. But for the sake of this, I guess it would look better like this. And that's about it. Now we can just build and publish this. Once this window pops up, you can just put in your name. Mine would be Ashley. And you put in a description. Then we can also put up a nice little camera, which I can copy over from this component since I've preset that up. And upload. Now that everything is done, we can just launch into VRChat and see what happens. Arrived in VR, you can go down to your nearest mirror and change your model to your newly uploaded 2D character and see for yourself if it has worked. On my case, we have the problem that right now her eyes are not fully rendered. This is because I didn't put the depth up to enough to actually render the eyes without the skin behind it, so they're on one plane. If you get closer, this will not look that bad, because if your model gets higher rendered, you also get more depth. What I've meant before, also with the Paper Mario example, is here you see Mario in an actual 2D character rendered on the x-axis. So I've squished him together on the x. If you see Mario over here, you see that he's sideways, which gives another cool effect, but for you, it just looks a little weird. But if we're gonna go over to the mirror, you can see that Mario over here, it's not completely correct yet, but you can see that he's rendered on the side and can actually jump or imitate or do whatever you want him to. My name is Weinel, and I hope you've learned something, and I hope this helps you in your future endeavors.